My parents said I owed my sister my apartment since they paid for her college but not mine. Yesterday they learned I sold it instead. Hi everyone. Today's story will blow your mind, but really quick, if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. Channel's been a bit quiet lately, and your support keeps it all going. Let's jump in. Original post. I, 30M, am sitting in an empty apartment right now, surrounded by boxes, and I've never felt more free in my entire life. In 48 hours, I'll be on a plane to Seattle, leaving behind everything I've known in Boston, including the family that pushed me too far. Let me start from the beginning, because I need someone to understand why I'm doing what many will call extreme. I grew up in what seemed like a normal middle-class family. My parents, Robert, 58M, and Patricia, 56F, always preached about family values and helping each other. What I didn't realize until much later was that helping each other meant I was expected to sacrifice everything for my younger sister Ashley, 23F, while she was never expected to reciprocate. The pattern started early. When I was 16 and got my first job at a grocery store, my parents convinced me to help out with Ashley's dance classes. When I got into Boston University on a partial scholarship, I worked 3 jobs to avoid student loans. Ashley. She went to a private college in Connecticut, all expenses paid by our parents, who justified it by saying I was more independent and naturally responsible. I graduated in 2016 with a degree in software engineering and zero debt, thanks to living on ramen and 4 hours of sleep for 4 years. I immediately got a job at a tech startup, making decent money. Instead of living it up like my peers, I saved obsessively. Why? Because I watched my parents struggle with their mortgage and credit card debt, and I promised myself I'd never be in that position. By 2019, at 27, I had saved enough for a down payment on a small 1-bedroom apartment in Somerville, just outside Boston. It wasn't fancy, 650 square feet, dated kitchen, single bathroom, but it was mine. The mortgage was manageable, and I was proud of what I'd accomplished entirely on my own. My parents' reaction? Oh, that's nice, James. Maybe Ashley can stay there when she visits Boston. Not congratulations. Not pride. Just immediately thinking about how it could benefit Ashley. For the past 3 years, I've been paying my mortgage, upgrading the apartment bit by bit, new appliances, renovated bathroom, refinished floors. The neighborhood has gentrified significantly, and my apartment's value has increased by about 40%. I was planning to stay here long-term, maybe rent it out eventually when I could afford something bigger. Then, 2 weeks ago, my parents invited me to dinner. Ashley was there, fresh from her graduation ceremony at her expensive private college with a degree in communications. She was glowing, talking about her plans to move to Boston for some entry-level marketing job that barely paid above minimum wage. The thing is, Ashley said, twirling her wine glass, Boston rent is insane. Even with roommates, I'd be paying like $1,500 a month for a shoebox. My mother, Patricia, nodded sympathetically. It's criminal what they charge young people these days. When we were your age, you could get a nice place for $500. I should have seen it coming, but I was blindsided when Robert turned to me and said, "That's why we think it's time for you to step up as the older brother." What do you mean? I asked, though my stomach was already dropping. Ashley needs a place to live. You have that apartment. You're doing well at your job. You could easily rent somewhere else or move back home for a while. Family helps family. I laughed. I actually laughed because I thought he was joking. You want me to what? Give Ashley my apartment? The one I bought with my own money. Patricia's face hardened. Not give, James. Transfer it to her. We'd help with the paperwork. You could gift it to her for her graduation. It would be a beautiful gesture. A beautiful gesture. I stood up so fast my chair scraped against their floor. That apartment is worth $400,000. You want me to just hand it over? Ashley had the audacity to look hurt. I thought you'd want to help me, James. You always talk about how family is important. When have I ever said that? When have any of you ever helped me with anything? Robert's face turned red. We raised you, fed you, kept a roof over your head for 18 years. That's called being a parent. That's literally the legal minimum. The argument escalated from there. Patricia called me selfish. Robert said I was forgetting where I came from. Ashley cried, saying I was ruining her future by being greedy. They brought up every minor thing they'd ever done for me, including birthday presents and driving me to school, as if that justified demanding I hand over my largest asset. I left their house shaking with rage. But the text started immediately. Mom, you need to think about this rationally. Ashley needs this more than you do. Dad, Disappointing. We raised you better than this. Ashley, I can't believe you're being so cruel. I thought you loved me. For 3 days, the harassment continued. They got my aunts, uncles, and cousins involved. My phone was blowing up with messages about how I was breaking the family apart and being materialistic. My Aunt Linda even called me at work to say I should be ashamed of putting money over blood. That's when I made my decision. If they wanted to play games, I'd flip the entire board. I called my real estate agent that afternoon. I want to sell. Fast. I'll take 10% below market if necessary. She was shocked. James, this is a seller's market. You could get well above asking if you wait. I don't want to wait. I want it sold within a week. While she got to work, I started my exit strategy. I'd been headhunted by a Seattle company 6 months ago. Great salary, full remote option, relocation package. I turned them down because I loved Boston. No. I called them back. The position was still open. Within 72 hours, I had accepted the job offer in Seattle. I found a buyer for my apartment, only 5% below market, cash offer. I started packing everything I owned. Scheduled movers. I didn't tell my family any of this. They kept texting, assuming I'd eventually cave like I always had before. Ashley even sent me apartment listings for studios I could rent after I came to my senses and gave her my place. The closing is tomorrow. The new owners are a young couple, both teachers, who were thrilled to find something they could actually afford. They're good people who deserve it. And in 48 hours, I'll be on a plane to Seattle, where I've already signed a lease on a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment with a view of the water, which I can easily afford with my new salary. My family is about to find out that I sold my apartment to complete strangers rather than give it to my entitled sister. They're about to realize I'm leaving Boston entirely. And honestly, I've never felt better about a decision in my life. Sometimes the only way to win is to refuse to play their game entirely. Update 1, 3 days later. I'm writing this from Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, waiting for my Uber to my new apartment. But first, I need to tell you what happened when my family found out. The closing was yesterday morning at 9 a.m. Everything went smoothly, signed papers, handed over keys, received the wire transfer. By 10 a.m., I was officially no longer a Boston property owner. The movers had already taken my stuff to Seattle the day before. All I had left was 2 suitcases and my laptop bag. I decided to tell my parents in person. Not out of respect, but because I wanted to see their faces. Call it petty, but after years of being treated like a resource rather than a person, I felt I deserved this moment. I showed up at their house at 11 a.m. Ashley's car was in the driveway. Perfect. I rang the doorbell instead of using my key. Patricia answered, looking surprised. James, we weren't expecting you. Have you finally come to your senses about the apartment? Actually, yes. I've made a decision about the apartment. Can we talk inside? The hope on her face was almost comical. She practically pulled me into the living room where Robert was reading his tablet and Ashley was scrolling through her phone. James is here about the apartment, Patricia announced triumphantly. Ashley immediately perked up. Oh, thank God. I was starting to stress about finding a place. When can I move in? I sat down across from them, taking my time. The apartment was sold this morning. The silence was deafening. Robert was the first to speak. Sold? What do you mean sold? I mean I sold it. To a lovely couple. Teachers. They were thrilled to find something in their price range. Ashley's phone clattered to the floor. You sold my apartment? Your apartment? I laughed. It was never your apartment, Ashley. It was mine. Bought with my money, paid for with my money, improved with my money. And now it belongs to Christopher and Jennifer Martinez. Patricia stood up, her face turning an alarming shade of purple. You sold it to strangers? Instead of helping your sister? Yes. Take it back. Robert shouted. Call them right now and take it back. That's not how real estate works, Dad. It's done. They own it now. Ashley started crying. No, wailing. How could you do this to me? Where am I supposed to live? I don't know, Ashley. Maybe get a job? Save money. You know, like I did. But I can't afford Boston prices. Then don't live in Boston. Or get roommates. Or live with Mom and Dad. These are all normal solutions that millions of people use. Patricia grabbed my arm. You're going to fix this. You're going to buy another apartment and give it to Ashley. I shook her off and stood up. No, I'm not. In fact, I'm leaving Boston entirely. I've taken a job in Seattle. My flight leaves tonight. The explosion was everything I'd imagined and more. Robert called me a traitor to the family. Patricia said I was dead to her. Ashley screamed that I'd ruined her life, and she'd never forgive me. I'm not asking for forgiveness, I said, heading for the door. I'm not asking for anything from any of you ever again. And I'm not giving anything either. Patricia followed me outside. You'll regret this, James. When you're all alone in Seattle with no family, you'll come crawling back. Maybe. But I doubt it. Goodbye, Mom. As I drove away, my phone started exploding again. This time, the extended family was even more vicious. Aunt Linda, you sold the apartment? You selfish monster. Uncle Stephen, your parents are devastated. How dare you? Cousin Michael, wow. Just wow. Way to destroy the family. I blocked every single one of them. Then I called my phone provider and scheduled a number change effective tomorrow. The flight to Seattle was the most peaceful 6 hours I've had in years. No texts. No calls. No guilt trips. Just me, looking out at the clouds, thinking about my new life. And you know what the ironic part is? If they had asked, really asked, not demanded, if they had shown even an ounce of appreciation for my hard work, if they had offered to pay me something, anything, even just taking over the remaining mortgage, I might have considered it. But they didn't ask. They demanded. They felt entitled to my success while contributing nothing to it. Now I'm in Seattle, about to start fresh. New job, new apartment, new phone number, new life. And for the first time in my adult life, I feel truly free. Update 2, 1 month later. Seattle is amazing. I need to start with that because what I'm about to tell you might sound like schadenfreude, but I want to be clear. I'm not reveling in my family's misfortune. I'm just observing it from a distance, like watching a storm you're no longer caught in. My new job is everything I hoped for. The team is collaborative, the work is challenging, and, this is the best part, they actually value work-life balance. I'm making 40% more than I was in Boston, and the cost of living is actually lower. My new apartment is gorgeous. 2 bedrooms, modern kitchen, in-unit washer/dryer, and a balcony with a partial water view. It costs less than what my mortgage was in Boston. I've made friends here. My neighbor, David, is a fellow software engineer who introduced me to his hiking group. We've done 3 trails already. My coworker Jennifer invited me to her book club. I'm building a life that's mine, not one built around my family's expectations. But let me tell you what's been happening in Boston, because it's been illuminating. 3 weeks ago, I got an email to my work address from my mother. I don't know how she found it, probably through LinkedIn. The subject line was, "Emergency, please read." The email was a novel. Apparently, Ashley's job offer fell through. The marketing company decided to restructure and eliminated the position before she even started. She's been applying everywhere, but without experience and with only a communications degree, she's not getting callbacks. She can't afford any apartment in Boston, even with roommates, because landlords want proof of income. But here's where it gets interesting. My parents offered to let Ashley live with them, and she refused. Said it would be social suicide and embarrassing to live at home after college. So instead, she's been couchsurfing with college friends, but that's wearing thin. Patricia wrote, "Your sister is suffering because of your selfishness. You have the means to help from Seattle. The least you could do is send money for her rent." I didn't respond. 2 days later, Robert emailed, "James, be reasonable. We're asking for a loan, not a gift. $50,000 should be enough for Ashley to get established. We'll pay you back." I didn't respond to that either. Then, last week, I got a LinkedIn message from Ashley herself. It was quite different from her previous entitled demands. "James, I know you hate me right now, but I need help. Mom and Dad can't afford to support me, they're in more debt than I realized. I've been sleeping on my friend Jennifer's couch for 2 weeks, but her roommate wants me out. I have $200 in my bank account. I was so stupid about the apartment. I see that now. Please, I'm begging you. Even just enough for a security deposit somewhere. I'll pay you back, I swear." For a moment, just a moment, I felt bad. Then I remembered all the years of being treated like a bank account with legs. All the times they made me feel guilty for my success instead of proud of it. All the demands disguised as family obligations. I sent her one message: Boston College has a career center with job placement services. Food service and retail are always hiring. Those were good enough for me when I was building my life. They should be good enough for you." She responded with a long, angry message about how I was punishing her for mom and dad's mistakes, and how she didn't ask to be spoiled. I blocked her on LinkedIn too. Yesterday, I got a call from an unknown Boston number. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was my cousin Michael. "Jesus, James. Your parents are losing it. Your mom is on anxiety medication. Your dad had to take time off work. Ashley's talking about dropping out of the job market entirely and going to grad school, but they can't afford it. And this is my problem because they're your family." "No, Michael. They're relatives. Family doesn't treat you like an ATM. Family doesn't demand you sacrifice your future for someone else's convenience. Family celebrates your successes instead of immediately calculating how to exploit them. You're really going to let this destroy everything?" "I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped enabling their dysfunction. There's a difference." He hung up on me. "The truth is, I'm thriving here. I've gone on a few dates with a woman named Rebecca who works at a non-profit. She's kind, independent, and when I told her this whole story, her response was, 'Good for you for setting boundaries.' Can you imagine? Someone actually supporting my decision instead of guilting me about it? I've started therapy too. My therapist, Dr. Thompson, has helped me understand that what I experienced was financial abuse. My family conditioned me to believe that my success belonged to everyone but me. That my achievements were family property. That setting boundaries was selfishness. You didn't abandon your family, she told me last week. You escaped an exploitative dynamic. There's a difference. I'm sharing this update because I know some of you worried I'd crack under the guilt. That I'd eventually cave and send money or even move back. But here's what I've learned. Guilt is just the voice of other people's expectations. And I'm done living my life according to other people's expectations. My new life in Seattle is just beginning, and for the first time in my adult life, every decision I make is for me. Not for Ashley. Not for my parents. Not for family harmony. For me. And it feels incredible. Final update, 3 months later. This will be my last update on this situation, and I'm happy to say it's because there's nothing left to update. The chapter is closed, and I'm living in the epilogue. First, let me tell you where I am now. I'm sitting in my Seattle apartment, Rebecca is cooking dinner, she makes amazing Thai food, and I just got promoted to senior software engineer. The promotion came with another raise and the option to work remotely from anywhere in the world for up to 3 months per year. Rebecca and I are planning a month in Japan next spring. I haven't spoken to my family in 2 months. I know what's happened with them only through the occasional LinkedIn stalking, I'm human, sue me, and one final email from my father that I'll share with you. From what I can tell, Ashley finally got a job, at a Starbucks in Brookline. She's living with 3 roommates in Alston, sharing a bedroom with one of them to afford the rent. Her Instagram, which used to be full of brunches and shopping hauls, now mostly features motivational quotes about grinding and humble beginnings. The entitlement seems to have been shocked out of her by reality. Good. My parents, from what I can piece together, are not doing well. Robert's email, which came 6 weeks ago, was revealing. James, your mother doesn't know I'm writing this. She's still angry. But I need you to know something. We failed you. I see that now. We treated you like you owed us for being born, like your success was our retirement plan. We raised Ashley to believe the world owed her everything and you to believe you owed everyone else. The truth is, we're in debt. Have been for years. We spent money we didn't have trying to keep up appearances, giving Ashley everything she wanted, maintaining an image. We were counting on you to be our safety net because we never built one ourselves. When you sold that apartment and left, it forced us to face reality. We're probably going to have to sell the house and downsize. Ashley is furious with us, says we set her up for failure by never making her work for anything. She's right. Your mother won't admit it, but she cries about you. Not about the apartment or the money, but about you. About how we pushed away our son who worked so hard and achieved so much. About how we never once told you we were proud of you. I am proud of you, James. For the apartment. For the job. For standing up to us. For having the courage to leave. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know. Dad. I read that email exactly once. I didn't respond. Not because I'm still angry, the anger has mostly faded, but because I know that engaging would be opening a door I fought too hard to close. They're learning their lessons, but those lessons aren't my responsibility to supervise. My therapist and I have talked a lot about forgiveness. She says forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means releasing the anger so it doesn't poison your future. I'm working on it. Some days are better than others. Rebecca has met the friends I've made here. They all know my story, not because I'm dwelling on it, but because it's part of how I got here. Last week, at a dinner party, David raised a glass and said, "To James, for proving that sometimes the best family is the one you choose. I've chosen well. My new life includes a job that challenges and rewards me, a partner who sees me as an equal, not a resource, a friends who celebrate my successes instead of calculating how to benefit from them, a therapist who's helping me unlearn decades of programming, a future that's entirely my own to shape." Yesterday was my 31st birthday. Rebecca threw me a surprise party with all our Seattle friends. There was no guilt, no manipulation, no calculations about who owed whom what. Just joy. Pure, simple joy. My phone number has stayed changed. My email filters are strong. My boundaries are intact. And for the first time in my life, I understand what peace feels like. To those who said I'd regret this, I don't. Not for a second. To those who said family is everything, you're right. That's why I had to leave the relatives who were preventing me from finding real family. To those who are in similar situations, you don't owe anyone your success. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Your achievements belong to you. Your life belongs to you. I came to Seattle with 2 suitcases and a lifetime of baggage. The suitcases are unpacked now, and I'm still working on the baggage. But every day gets lighter. Every day gets brighter. My family, my former family, created a son who could survive anything, achieve anything, overcome anything. They just never expected me to overcome them. Their loss. My gain. This is James, signing off from Seattle, where the coffee is strong, the rain is gentle, and the future is entirely mine. Epilogue. 6 months after the final update. I wasn't going to write again, but something happened that felt like the universe's way of closing this circle. The teachers who bought my apartment, Christopher and Jennifer Martinez, reached out to me through my old real estate agent. They wanted to thank me. Apparently, the apartment has changed their lives. They'd been trying to buy something, anything, for 3 years, always getting outbid by cash offers from investors. They were about to give up on ever owning a home when my place came on the market at a price they could afford. Jennifer is pregnant now. The small apartment I once called home will be their baby's first home. They've painted the bedroom yellow, gender neutral, they said, and turned my former office nook into a nursery corner. "We know you took less than market value," Christopher wrote. "We know you could have gotten more. But because of you, our child will grow up in a home we own. You gave us stability. You gave us a future." Reading that email, I felt something I hadn't expected, complete peace with my decision. Not just the leaving, but the selling. That apartment went to people who needed it, who treasure it, who are building a life in it based on love and mutual respect, not obligation and manipulation. Meanwhile, I proposed to Rebecca last week. She said yes. We're planning a small wedding here in Seattle, just us and the family we've chosen. The family that celebrates with us instead of calculating what they can extract from us. My therapist says I've graduated from our sessions. I can come back any time, but I don't need regular appointments anymore. The anger is gone. The guilt is gone. What's left is just life. My life. Sometimes I wonder if my parents and Ashley learned their lessons permanently or if they're just temporarily shocked into better behavior. But then I realize, it doesn't matter. Their lessons are their journey now, not mine. I changed my name on social media to just my first and middle name, James William. It's not about hiding, it's about choosing who gets to be part of my story going forward. The best revenge, they say, is living well. But this isn't revenge. This is just living. Finally, fully, freely living. To everyone who followed this story, who offered support, who shared their own experiences of breaking free from toxic family dynamics, thank you. You reminded me that choosing yourself isn't selfish when the alternative is losing yourself. Seattle isn't just where I moved. It's where I finally came home. Home to myself.